Hello, it's Lou Collins. Today I've got an SVG file for you as inspiration for a wedding card. Now this SVG is downloadable through Craftworld. It's actually part of a wedding bundle. So this is the champagne glass. There's lots in there. There's a beautiful floral heart. There's the doves as well. So you've really got everything within that collection to create all your wedding cards, invitations, obviously thank you and RSVPs. Yeah, just make sure that's right. And things like table decor and such as well. So I've taken a really simple design, so it's just going to be a lovely, elegant card. You can actually batch make these. These would be perfect for evening invitations, in fact. So I've taken the outline of the glass. I think you can just about see that there on my mat. I've already pre-cut this on my cutting machine. I've got the Brother Scan and Cut, but if you've got a Cricut, a Silhouette, whatever it may be, the SVGs will work on all of those. Now, within the set, the SVG files, you actually get this one, which is your plain outline. Then you get another one, which has some detail of the champagne bubbles. Now, I chose not to use that one today because I'm going to create my own bubbles. So we're going to make a shaker card with this. So what I've done is I've brought the champagne glass into the software on my computer for my cutting machine. So brought that into the artboard. I've then put around it a rectangle that is 4 by 7 inches. So it was around about a DL size roughly, and then I've added a score line, a hashed line or dashed line down the center there as well. So if I just remove this outer piece, you'll be able to see the card base there, and then lift this up again, and that will leave that glass. Now of course you can keep this and you can use that elsewhere if you want to, so pull that off, and let's just pop this to the side, because then I've also got my score line down the middle. So I'm just gently going to fold this. I've gone into a really strong cardstock. So this cardstock is about 300 GSM, 300 or 350, I can't quite remember, which is why I added that score line in. So there we go, I've got my card base already. So now we need to add the shaker element to that. So for that, what I've got is some glitter card that's going to sit behind there. I've also got some foam tape and some acetate, and then lastly I've got my sequins, which are going to kind of be like my bubbles in the champagne glass. Now, common rule is obviously don't put gold and silver together, choose one. I think that goes a lot for jewellery and things, but you know, absolutely not. I'm going to mix gold and silver here, of course. So let's open this up. It's easier to work with the card opened up for now. And what I want to do is cut a piece of glitter cardstock, and you can do this on your cutting machine if you prefer, if it's easier to just cut this straight afterwards on your mat using this same sort of template. Just remove the glass there, shrink your rectangle down. But we want a rectangle that's going to fit just behind our card here. So I'm just going to measure and cut that down. Then I also need to cut myself a panel of acetate. Now this need only be enough to cover over the aperture that we've got, leaving a bit of a border for our foam tape. So I'm just going to do this by hand. I'm just going to take some scissors here, because of the static that holds on quite well to the cardstock there. And I'm just going to trim this. You can do it with a trimmer, you can measure, you can do it a little bit neater if you want to. This is all going to be hidden on the inside of your card. Now, while I'm making this, I would just suggest, while you've got your machine out, I'd suggest that you cut yourself another one of these so you can layer over the back to cover any workings afterwards. Now this is going to be applied down to the inside of my card front. So if I turn this round, so it's in the inside there. So I'm going to put glue just around here. There we go. This is just a wet glue, a little bit there, so that I know that's all going to be glued in. Pop your acetate down. Don't go too close to the edge where you've cut there, because you don't want the glue seeping out. So when you press that, of course, it's going to squelch out just a little bit, and glue on acetate is really actually quite difficult to hide. So just make sure that doesn't seep out. That should adhere really quite quickly. So the next stage is to create the shaker element. So I'm going to use foam tape here, and I'm going to run a layer of foam tape all the way around. Now I prefer not to cut the tape if I can possibly get away with it. I definitely prefer to roll it round and twist it and have it slightly larger if need be, just around the corners, because once you start cutting it, that's going to start allowing joins for your glitter, your sequins, whatever you're putting inside, to start seeping out. So there we go, I've managed to get round there with a nice deep foam tape in one go. So just press that down. Now before I release the backing paper, this is something that I'd advise you to always do when you're working with shaker cards, and that's take an anti-static bag and just dab inside where the acetate is. Now this is going to do two things. It's going to remove the static from that acetate, help prevent the shaker from sticking, but also remove some of the stickiness that might be on the edge of the tape. You're still going to get a little bit, unfortunately, but it will remove some of it. So now what I can do is, before I remove that, I just want to add a layer of foam tape down here and down the other side as well, because we cut our panel to fit this card base like so. And I'll just show you as I pop these on. So release these pieces and then release this shaker. We're not going to glue this on just yet, we're going to do it in a second. I'm just releasing those for now, because as you can see that does move the card around. Okay, now before we put this panel on, we need to add our shaker elements. So something like some sequins is absolutely perfect. Usually the smaller the better. Unfortunately, I've only got large sequins with me today, so I'm going to carefully place these inside. I don't want too many, and I want to make sure that they stay within the glass and that they are not sticking to the foam. So a couple in the bottom as well. Let's just work a few down there, a few into the stem of the glass as well. Any that are flicking over, just pop them back in. You might think, well, why remove the tape if it's going to be sticky? As you saw as I was removing the tape, it does lift the card up, move it around quite a lot. So that's just going to flick your sequins, especially if you're doing something smaller like glitter. It's going to flick those about, so you want to really have that tape removed. There we go. Okay, so happy with those. So now I can place my silver cardstock, my silver glitter, over the top. Lining that all up, trying to keep it away from this centre edge as well, and really press that down, making sure everything's sealed. There we go, and then we have our shaker with our bubbles. Isn't that really good fun? Now all you need to do is go ahead and, if you want to, decorate that, maybe add a stamped sentiment or something, or just leave it really plain and contemporary if that's what you'd rather do.